And now, a 60-second improvised speech about what is the most delicious-looking cartoon food. It's Alex Knight.
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza. It's 100% that one. There was an episode even where I think the pizza got mutated with ooze and became a villain that they had to fight, and that guy even looked delicious. It's the thick cheese. The rats in the cartoons love it. The cheese stretches a big way. Those pepperonis on there, nice and thick. They're super thick. They're like a quarter of an inch thick. So it's definitely that. Also, grapes look pretty good in cartoons, in Grecian cartoons. I'd eat those. We're getting out of it, but Hook, they had the pudding, and the pudding was pretty damn good looking. It was those different colored puddings that I very much enjoyed. I don't think chocolate looks very good ever in a cartoon. And that's not because it's poopy. It's just like... I don't know. Chocolate's not good looking, really. Maybe it's the sheen of a nice chocolate, of like a nice truffle or something that is nice, and they haven't really been able to get that. I mean, there are beautiful banquets sometimes in things, and like those turkeys look good. So I don't know. Savory meats are looking good when they like fried chicken. All right,
that's quite enough. That's
plenty. That's a good topic. There's a lot there.
There's lots.
Okay, and now. A 1-minute riff by Sarah Kennedy. If you could live in a TV show, which one would it be?
Ooh. If I could live in any TV show ever. My favorite TV show is Xena Warrior Princess, and I would never pick that ever, ever, ever. It's very violent and very dangerous. And they get sick a lot on that show, and it just seems kind of like Oregon Trail, but with even less technology. I think that would be a terrible choice. Saved by the Bell would kind of be a fun one. Like, you don't have a lot of territory to memorize. You get a restaurant, you get, if you're lucky, a bedroom. Only some of the main characters got a bedroom, and then you got like 2 or 3 classrooms, and so that's pretty nice. And you get to have your locker right next to all your best friends. That seems cool. You can be in a glee club on Saved by the Bell. I was in show choir in high school, so I wouldn't mind that being my extracurricular.
15.
You do have to deal with Zach Morris every day, which would be kind of, a little bit rough, but you also get to hang out with like Jesse and Kelly and Lisa, and they seem fun. And Tori sometimes, man. Then she'd give you a ride on the motorcycle. That sounds good. I pick Saved by the Bell for sure.
Time. Yeah, that's terrifying that you brought up the idea of the few locations.
Yeah, that's all they get.
Like frightening. You leave your bedroom and then you're in the peach pit or whatever.
Yeah.
No, people do get sick in Xena, but like, do people die? People die in that show, but
they die a lot. And then spoiler, if you've never seen the show, it's like 20 years old and nobody watches it anymore. But at the very end, Xena dies, like permanently dies. Wow. So sad. I don't even watch the finale when I do my rewatches because it sucks so bad. And it was sad.
I brought up in the improv show to a dead audience the idea of Cleopatra 2525. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Okay,
oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. I think there was one person in the back that made a noise, and I was like, "We'll talk after."
Well, I should have been there that night. I could have seen the
theme song. Reference.
Yeah.
It's super fun to like. Yeah. Sometimes I'm sure as a comedian, just throw out an idea into an audience and be like, "Does it resonate with anyone?"
You guys know that one?
And it's really nice when it does.
I follow a cast member from Cleopatra 2525 on Twitter.
No way.
Victoria Pratt. She's married to Trace Atkins, the country singer now, and she has weird opinions on Twitter, but that's she's allowed to.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Goofball Coalition, the podcast that lives where improv and stand-up collide. And now, here's your hosts, Alex Knight and Sarah Kennedy.
Oh, hey!
Oh, hi!
It's the Goofball Coalition, the podcast where...
I got it. Where stand-up and improv go on a school field trip and end up sitting next to each other in the back of the bus.
I love that. That's exactly what this podcast does.
Pretty much the closest thing, yeah.
Yeah. Right. My name is Sarah. I am a stand-up comedian.
I'm Alex Knight. I'm an improviser.
Yeah. And today we've got a really cool episode that I'm really excited about because it was Alex's idea. So Want to tell people kind of what to
Sure,
expect today?
sure. So today's topic is I called it off hours, off stage, whatever. What do I want to know what stand-ups do in general, and then what stand-up Sarah does on your off hours to either stay sharp, to not stay sharp, to avoid the craft, to this, to that. Like what is your thoughts in general about it for normal people, normal stand-ups, and then yourself. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. So that's it. Do you have any first thoughts?
Yeah, I've got so
Before I
many
you?
actually. I'm really excited. I'm also
Yeah.
really excited to hear about what to do for improv.
Mhm.
And I think I know a couple of them because of stuff we've talked about in the past, but that's
Sure.
all exciting.
Yeah.
In stand up, my initial reaction is to be like, yeah, I'm never off, but I am like I won't be on like at a party or something like that. I'll just hang out with people at a party, but you still kind of try to keep your self-awareness around in case something funny does happen, and you can maybe like capture it and then hold it for later and then try to write something based off of it. So
Yeah, I mean, let's even start with that idea. And I'm going to be blurry in and out of
that's
this
cool.
podcast. But
You're
if you're
protecting
listening,
your
you can't tell I'm blurry. My rock hard awkward like this when I'm blurry, so they know. Okay, so I just want to go back even. What is the idea of being on?
oh right.
Like, because that's a thing. You might go to a bar and you might see a group of stand-ups or improvisers, and some of them are on and some of them are not on. What does that mean to you?
So being on it's a it's just when you're being too theatrical and you're not just chilling out and hanging out and being a regular person. A lot of times it means that you're taking too much of the attention of the group, or you're not creating conversation. You're just kind of broadcasting instead of
maybe just performative. You're
yeah.
just performing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of, for me, that's kind of what it is. It's like, who are you doing this for? You're treating me like an audience member instead of I don't know, an equal or something. I'm not sure. And not the audience, whatever. There's a balance of power there. But like, yeah, people are throwing their comedy at you. And yeah, you're right. Also, the idea of like taking too much time or whatever. Yeah. Those people are annoying as shit.
It's hard. Yeah, it's really hard. But
like, and I don't know. I feel like when I maybe was younger, I was probably on more because it was like, I like this thing. I get an enjoyment out of it. So I'm going to like try to make people laugh all the time or whatever. But yeah, now that I've figured it out a little more and had enough time to do it, yeah, maybe I'm less desperate for that. So I think, yeah, younger comedians are probably on more.
yeah. I mean, it's also an interesting thing too, where it's like, I like to think that I've got conversational wit, or like we can throw out little pithy things I'll never use on stage ever, but it's just because we're having a conversation and it comes to us, and I love that. I've had some friends that know that about me, and then they'll take what I've said and turn it into, I see it like on Facebook or Twitter like 10 minutes later, and I'm like, I said that and I would never have that a joke. But
yeah, is there, I don't know, you don't seem like the type, but I'm sure there are stand-ups that again, the idea of collecting things. Yeah, I'll often say something very funny with my friends and it resonates great. It's amazing. It works. And it's like, there's almost, I feel this responsibility of like, as a comedian, do I need to take that and preserve that and try to recreate that for an audience? But I think the improv brain of me is way more of like a mandala sand painting. It's like, nope, that was just the magic chemistry of that moment. And for me to try to recreate, that's going to be very hard. That said, I think a good stand-up can probably almost always find a way to recreate those moments, or at least like find the kernel of comedy in there and like reappropriate it into another, retrofit it into a different joke or something. But yeah, I wrestled with that when I was younger about like trying to hold on to things. And now I don't. I trust that I'm able to create more material. But stand-up does seem different in that way a little bit.
yeah, it is, I guess. Yeah, I can see why somebody would want to like grab and collect, but it's still, I don't know, it's hard to describe how different it is than just being on all the time, or just throwing bits out at people instead of like talking to them. So.
Sure, the collecting can be quieter. You've got your little notebook and you overhear something at a coffee shop and you like put that in there or whatever. That is different than being on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I seem to remember this from stuff I know about improv, but don't you do things like, what if you overhear something you can tell in your head it's a great thing to throw out at the beginning of a scene or something? Do you ever bank any of those, or
No,
like
no,
really?
Never. No, never. Yeah, I mean, no, that's not a terrible idea, I guess. Like, we'll ask our audience for that. We'll say, like, what is something you overheard today that was weird? And then we will use that as an opening line from them. But for me to do that, yeah, it's too preloaded because we should be in theory. They say orange. I should let the word orange spin me into a place and give me something original instead of forcing that thing in there. Yeah. Well, it's funny, yeah, when people, I mean, of course you get this. You must get this. I get it. Like you could use that in your comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Like something funny happens and
Yeah.
you could use that in your comedy. And for me, I'm really like, I really can't. Like, I'm not supposed to. I gotta like my stuff has to be original. I can't be pulling this stuff in. But you must get that a lot, yes.
Yeah, there was a show I did in New York that my friend Will did, and it was literally he gave you the prompt of the thing that somebody that week had told him, like, you can use that in your joke. And
That's
he'd be like,
really good.
no, you guys use it in your jokes. So
Oh,
like you
that's
have to
fun.
riff on whatever he was told could be good.
Would be good material.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a great show.
It was really
Or
fun.
to just see the person that has heard that enough times and noted it to do their set based on what people thought was good and see how bad it is. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's see. I want to talk about. I mean, we've talked about pre-show a little bit. Is there like post-show stuff for you? Like once you're finished on stage, what is those next few moments like? I suppose.
It depends. If I'm trying to get a tape, like if it's really important and I need to submit, like if I'm trying to get a good set for something, then I have immediate panic about whether or not the camera shut off or if it did go well or that kind of stuff. And but I don't know. Maybe you experience this too, but it's like there's just such a high that comes with doing comedy that like you almost don't want to like let it go too fast because you want to kind of like sit in that glow for a little bit. But you tell people they did a good job, or you let people tell you that you did a good job, or that kind of stuff too. And then after the show, I mean, it's so different now because of running the space, but like, so I usually am immediately like, we've got to clean up, we got to close. And like, so I move on from it pretty quick, but then we like to, if we can go out after. So usually we go to like Red Door or someplace else downtown and kind of all debrief and talk shop and have a fun comedy hang after that too, which is always nice.
Yeah.
We used to do that a long time ago before I moved to New York. Like we would all, I mean, y'all would be done, we would get done, and then we'd meet everybody over at Anodyne and all hang out there, which was really fun.
Yeah, my mom was always telling me like I had such like a cocaine high after my shows. I'd come out to the audience and be like, "Hi, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for coming. Like, yeah, it's crazy high. And again, being younger, even harder to like everything. It's like harder to control. I'm like even more now. I'm a little more controlled about it for sure. Yeah, it's so exciting after to when you've done well to like go out in front or whatever where the audience is if you want to or whatever, and like possibly get like presents of praise or whatever. It's like Christmas morning. You're like, do people like it? I did I had to do, my character thought he was trapped in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So I did a like Hunter S. Thompson impression. And a guy after was like, hey, great work on that. Like that was a really good Johnny Depp or whatever. And like, yeah, I don't expect that ever, but it's so nice when, you go out and someone like gives you a little extra praise. And like anyone, the more specific the praise, the better when it's like that thing, not just good job, but it's like, I really like that joke about the camel or whatever. Like, thanks. The camel rock, maybe. Yeah. And then after we do try to hang out, sometimes we don't. And it feels weird. Yeah, it feels like a bummer when we don't hang out. It feels really nice when we do all go out. And the more that go out, the better. But yeah, people's energy is different. Depends on how your show was. If you're feeling energy, like I get the bad improv blues when I feel like I fucked up and it's pretty depressing or whatever. Hard to do. Hard to go out and like see people. Yeah. All right, cool. So anything else after show?
I mean, way after shows, like days in between, Kelly and I have these things because she's a writer, so she kind of has the same thing that I do too. But we have like input and output days, which are kind of like, so an input day would just be like us watching a lot of movies or listening to a lot of music and just consuming other culture and other art and stuff. And then output days are just like those days where you gotta like before I was working with you, I'm working on a reel or a TikTok video about something else. So
cool. Oh, today's an output day because you're outputting with me.
Big output day. So cool. And we're doing this, and then I've got a mic tonight, and then I'm gonna do like so.
Cool. And you just consciously like put box those or whatever, mentally kind of like give permission or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Pointless.
helps me not feel like a day where I binge watch something is a waste, because
Yeah.
in New York in particular, if you weren't just like grinding every single day out at mics, doing then you'd feel
Mhm.
like, oh, well, I'm getting left behind. One day break
Yeah.
is enough to feel like you're getting
Yeah.
left behind. And so I had to really kind of like wrestle with that feeling, and then just
Mhm.
kind of be like, no, if you all you do is go to mics and the only people that you hang out with are other comedians, then you don't have anything to write jokes about. Your jokes are just
Mhm.
about the mic and the people, and like it just gets very like it's one note. And so
Yeah.
it's nicer to have a wide array of input. So
Yeah. I mean, similarly, LA was just so expensive. Like the cost of living for me, at least, was higher that it was like, I can't waste a day out here. Whereas New Mexico, it's like, whatever. It's like, whatever, rent and some food, whatever. It's fine. Like, I'll be all right. But yeah, there was more pressure to like use your days because like it felt like I was renting an office in LA and I needed to like be doing LA work when I was there all the time or whatever, for better or worse, probably
yeah.
for worse. But yeah, that's the biggest one. Got to get to that. That's a highlighted part that you said is like life experiences. If you're
Mhm.
just hanging out in the same circles and meeting the same people or whatever, like, yeah, what do you have? And so for me, it's like improvisers, our job is just to experience everything as best we can. Like watch shows that you don't like, listen to music that you don't necessarily like, go see concerts. Like just the more you can consume, the more people you can talk to. You know, our job a lot of times is to recreate relationships and stuff like that. And so like the more relationships you can create, like and connect with people and practice. Like every conversation you have is improv practice pretty much. It's like, how can I listen to a person, hear what they're saying, and build off of it, basically. So that's like our offstage job. And yeah, it sounds similar to you, is just have experiences, do things so you can talk about them.
That's awesome. That's one of those things that I've noticed about improv too, is like a new improviser always wants to initiate with like some wacky thing that's said. And some of my favorite, especially the Stanleys, y'all do a really good job with this, but where people come out and they start with like some object work and stuff. I love that so much because it like lets it all just kind of organically kind of come in. And then like, the other person can really kind of be like, yeah, and like jump in and help or like call it out or whatever. And I just think that that's always so
Yeah,
neat.
I mean, again, for an improviser, even that, it's like when you're washing the dishes,
Yeah.
sometimes take a second to go like, how thick is this plate? How
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
is it? How does the water, like, I don't know, because so often, yeah, we'll do very basic washing dishes, but like if I actually imagine the scrubber, the specific scrubber thing I have, it's gonna look better. It's gonna resonate more for my scene partner and stuff. So the more we can like experience life, kind of capture it, take like a screenshot of it and be able to recreate it, at whether it's relationships, feelings, emotions, whatever they are. Yeah, and I imagine it's very similar to you.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video where it's like if if improvisers treated real objects like they treat object work, and like
Oh my God,
they
no, I
like
don't think
chop
so.
a cucumber, but it's all like a bunch of pieces. They run into the
It's
couch and like keep walking like
it's
around.
terrible.
It's
You have to send it to me.
it's awesome.
Yeah, very true, very true. So the more we can not do that. Another question: are there any like hobbies or anything that like feed into stand up that like help you be better at it?
Uh I mean, all I do, I come from like everything is like stand up out. So anything I do, even DJ, I guess DJing is the only thing that I do that is really its own separate thing for its own
Mm,
separate case. Um, but everything else that everything I want to learn, every book I read or whatever is usually to just further or wider variety out what I do for stand up. So it all kind of comes back to it. So screenwriting and even trying to build good habits, which is the thing I'm trying to do now, is all
Oh,
for,
good for you.
yeah. But
How does DJing? What are the similarities?
uh it's funny because at first I was like, this is a separate thing I do separate. They have nothing to do with each other at all. And then the more I do it, the more I'm like, oh, I get it. It's because I like to create experiences for people. I just like to I like to make Disneyland. And I know that, and maybe that's why I was so drawn to stand up, especially here in Albuquerque in particular, is because all you need to create that experience are the ideas in your head. You don't even need another person. You don't even really need a microphone, although that's really the most helpful basic thing that you need. And so it's like that's to go from absolutely nothing to creating a Disneyland for somebody for 5 minutes to an hour is wonderful. And then you can build from there. So then you can go buy a puppet or go, get a guitar or do something wild and add to that. But
Yeah, I mean, how long have you been DJing?
uh Well, I guess over almost half a decade, I guess, because I did it as a joke.
Mhm.
When I worked at SeatGeek,
That's how
they would.
so many
I know.
fucking like life journeys start, right? Like, oh, fucking do burlesque, let's
Yeah,
try it. And then
let's
it's
I'll
like,
try
oh,
it.
look at who I am.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. When I worked at SeatGeek every year for the holidays, they would get us some outlandish present. Like it would be full PlayStations or
Mhm.
something. And I never really liked the items, but one of the things they did was like you could take a class at the DJ school in Manhattan. And I was like, that's what I'll do. I want that. I want that, please. And so I spent the whole day on some like real turntables and they made me beat match. And then I bought a little controller for myself. And then I started doing it just at random bars in Brooklyn. And then
Mhm.
at gay bars, I did a lot of DJing at gay bars, which was awesome because it meant you
Mhm.
just had to find the song of the week and play that for sure. And then everybody would
And then
dance.
just put stuff around it and they're happy.
Yeah. And so
Cool.
then when I moved back here, I was a DJ assistant for a while for Cutmaster, and I did a lot of weddings, which is very fun, and a lot of you have to just carry the equipment for the most part. And
Mhm.
then during COVID, it was very easy for me to practice, and then
Sure.
I also learned how to do it streaming, like or online. I could do it in a Zoom meeting, and so I actually
Mhm.
got a bunch of gigs doing DJing for Zoom meetings. And um, then as things started opening up, I did it back at Sidewinders for a while and
Mhm.
at Red Door, and now I just I'll just do it wherever. And I mean, that's the nice thing too about comedy and owning a venue is that like I'm a big tech head, so I did the
Yeah,
more tech I can buy, the more comforted I feel. And so that's an itch you can never fully scratch with
sure.
DJing. You can always buy something new for that. So.
Cool. Has that been really exciting to I don't know, to your artistic experience curation has mostly been to make people laugh,
Mhm.
and then to all of a sudden be able to scratch like a different itch and to make people like move their bodies is so very different. Like it's not, but it is. It's a very different experience that you're giving. Is that really fucking awesome and rewarding, I would imagine?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's cool I mean, the thing about laughter too is that it's a compulsion. Like it's a thing that you don't even know that you can't, people can go ha ha, but to really make somebody laugh, it's like involuntary
Yeah,
and they're opting into it. And so that same thing happens when people come to dance. Like people won't dance if they don't want to dance. And so
it's
if
very
you
true.
can really get people going, then it's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, you've definitely won. Yeah, same thing. When you get a big belly laugh, you're like, cool, I did it.
Mhm.
Whatever my goal was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about, I mean,
Um,
because you've been doing visual art. So how do you like that
sure.
compared to like,
Yeah, it's like it's really, really cool when to be able to like I think, we're comedians, but I think we're artists more, first of all, and comedy is the place where our art kind of manifests and like and comes out. And um like I think I need to practice DJing a little bit because I think I'd be good at that too. Like same thing. I really like to curate experience for people and like um yeah, and it's amazing when I create a piece of art that people like are moved by emotionally like a different way. Like it's not necessarily makes them sad, but like yeah, resonates in this in for that sadness in a person or whatever. They can relate to it with a different emotion and like yeah, it's incredibly rewarding to be told that you've moved people in a different way. Or even in an improv show, we again have this ability to affect people in different ways and we can get oohs and ahs and ahs, and when we do our job right and we go slower we can tap into these different emotions, and that is so fun. There's definitely expectation in improv to be funny, but when we can like get around that and get people in a different way, yeah, it's incredibly validating, I
I
feel.
love that. Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys get that too. There's moments, I think again, it might be harder, but there's definitely moments that I've been affected by stand-ups in like more complicated ways than I went in expecting. And I think that's any art. You see any art that like you think it's going to do this to you and it does a different emotion is like, mwah, I love that.
Yeah.
Or
I
if
mean,
especially if you can do both, if you can
yeah.
make me laugh in 1 second and then make me cry the next second, like that is such a complicated layered piece of art that I really enjoy. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool.
We journeyed away a little bit
Oh,
from that topic.
well, I mean, our outside hobbies are also
Yeah,
impacting our stuff. So
yeah.
that's off our stuff.
You said full PlayStations, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
I
hack.
don't I don't do you play video games?
I do, and I actually think, in a weird way, they're pretty good for improvisers. It's like it's in a sense, it's like failure, try again, fail, try again, don't give up, try again, fail, figure it out. It's a puzzle. Like you can do it. I mean, not all games, but there's certain ones that definitely I think are like, yeah, like games can be good to teach you that failure is not bad. Because I think our world, very much when I'm teaching lower level classes, it's like just teaching people to fail and that it is okay, that it doesn't matter, that you can always try again is an important lesson. And then also sports, like playing volleyball, that feeds so much into improv of like just the team aspect, communication, working together, synergy, all this stuff. Like we'll play like it's just pickup games with random kind of mixes of people. And it's like sometimes the team on paper, it's like this team's going to suck, but we just have energy and we're in sync and we flow well together. It's the same as an improv show. Sometimes we have like, a great cast, a great lineup, everything's going to be perfect and it doesn't go well. And maybe the opposite, and it does go well. It's about like feeling the energy of the group and feeding off it or the audience or whatever.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Anything else I got for you on this one? No, I don't think so. I think I'm good. You got anything else off hours topics?
No, but it's interesting that you mentioned the stuff about failing and failing and failing over and over again, because we'll talk about it in the third segment. You ready?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. Hello and welcome to the third segment. This is where we usually, talk about the show itself, talk about you, our audience, answer your questions, give you outdated information about our Patreon. It does exist, though. That is patreon.com/the Goofball Coalition podcast for $1 a month. You can put some numbers on the board about being team improv or team stand-up. What those numbers are changes. Sometimes it goes backwards depending on when you hear the podcast. So we'd love your support. And we've got some really fun things planned for the people who support our Patreon. So they're coming out eventually.
I think we're going to do like a special show, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Weird combo show. All right.
We'll do something live for them, especially because this is StreamYard, and StreamYard allows for some live stuff. So we can maybe do interaction.
Yeah.
Interesting. So keep an eye out, patrons. That's what they're called. Right. Cool stuff's coming your way. Okay, so if you have been an avid listener of the Goofball Coalition over the past 10 episodes, then you may have noticed that the audio quality is up in the air. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it sounds like we're getting cut with scissors. It just sounds like everything is chippity choppity. And then sometimes it like full things will tail out. The audio has been an issue. We acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. And I can tell you it's because I've been using weird editing software. We're no longer using that. And you might be saying, Sarah, can you just go back and fix all those episodes? And the answer is, I'm not gonna. So we're just going to move on from here on out, and you can just expect better audio. The other episodes have really great content, and you are welcome to revisit them at any time. We will reference them a lot because now this is information that's just canon. But from here on out, 10 plus, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, we were just a little baby horse, and we were figuring out how to walk. Yeah. And now we're fucking walking, and we're about to run. And it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, it's just like any comedy show on TV. The first season sucks. And then by the second or third season, you're in love with the people that you're watching. And
then 7 is the best season. So hang out and wait.
People love the 7th season of everything.
Yeah, that's what it is. And we're not even fucking sorry. We love. No, we are. No, we're not. Whatever. We love it. It doesn't matter.
I hate it. Yeah, it's the audio. It's an audio first medium. So I hate that the one thing that's been messing up the most is the audio. That's not good. But you live and you learn. And I happen to love to do StreamYard and use it as a tool. So I'm willing to keep going forward.
And we might not go down to that studio much, which is okay. I was going, I was getting like a vanilla latte before each time, and so I'm going to save that cash and the parking cash on the meters. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to see the tall blonde pot guy that gets me the coffee. He was at what is that place right down there?
Humble.
He was at Humble. He's a tall. He's like a Skarsgård.
He is.
Skarsgård. Is he a Skarsgård?
I think he might be.
Okay. He's the Skarsgård type. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
If that sounds like your type of guy, go flirt with him.
Yeah, he's over at Humble.
tastefully, respectfully.
Yeah. Pay for parking and go talk to him.
Yeah, take my shift. All right. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. If you haven't rated and reviewed our podcast,
Now do it.
now do it. Definitely now do it, because now it's definitely a 5-star podcast. So go and do that over on iTunes, or they don't even call it that, Apple Podcasts. And then yeah, that's pretty much, let's share it with people, and really like ask us questions and we'd be thrilled to answer them. So, but
You got anything coming up?
oh yeah, every weekend over at Dry Heat, which is now it's in the Box Annex, which is down on 2nd and Gold. We got that, and then we start at 9:30, a shy half an hour after what I imagine you're going to plug.
Yes.
So you could really,
I mean, come for my show, show up late, go to hers.
Yeah.
Totally cool. Yeah, we're every Friday and Saturday at 9, except for second Saturdays, which we're at 8 o'clock. But besides that, every Friday and Saturday at 9. We've got our jams every last Thursday of the month. Come on down if you want to try some improv. You live in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, or the area around those areas. Come hang out with us for free. Cool.
That's awesome. That's another thing I meant to mention in the last segment too, is like for some reason living in Albuquerque means that you could try and throw your hat in the ring for a bunch of different kinds of art forms. Like,
for sure. You
it's
could be like us very quickly if you wanted to be.
I mean, it's so funny to be like, oh, that's my friend who I've seen do burlesque and lead a band and also be in a play. Like, you can do all kinds of stuff.
You can do it all. This town is definitely open for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, go to the jams. We've got open mics almost every single night in Albuquerque. So come do stand up too if you ever want to try that out. And then other than that, I guess we'll just see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.